This NBA Cup Quarterfinals Player Props edition of the Propcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code MACHINE to get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. We're also brought to you by Rebet, a new sportsbook available in 45 states. Download Rebet in your app store and use promo deposit match up to $100. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Start crushing college football and the NFL with Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
And taking a shot to Brown downfield. He makes the catch, and he gets in for the touchdown. The catch is made by Calvin Ridley.
Wilson, what as he throws deep downfield. It's going to be caught by Metcalf.
Welcome, everyone, to the Propcast, part of the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. NBA Cup quarterfinals tipping off Tuesday night and Wednesday, of course. We'll find out who is going to go to Vegas for the semifinals and, of course, the finals, which will be happening next Tuesday. Semifinal games are on Saturday, so it should be a lot of fun to get into the NBA Cup here. But joining me today is my lonesome self here. Chris had a very packed schedule, so couldn't make it today. So we'll be back for the NFL Propcast for Thursday Night Football tomorrow on Wednesday, but I'll be here, or at least for this episode, going solo for the NBA player props for the NBA Cup this week. I mentioned this on the NBA pod yesterday that myself and Scott did, that the schedule, I think, is this week is a little bit weird in the NBA because we have the Cup games going on, quarterfinals, like I mentioned. So the schedule, like we had one game on Monday, we have two tonight on Tuesday, we have two on Wednesday, and then there's a bigger schedule on Friday, I believe, in the association. So I guess a good time to kind of sit back, relax, get your notes in order, kind of get caught up on what's kind of happened in the first quarter of the season here in the association. So yeah, pretty good time to, really dive into those deep numbers there. But the plan for the show here today, I'm going to go through player props for both Tuesday and Wednesday of the NBA Cup games here. So I'll try to give you one player prop at minimum for each of the games on the Tuesday and Wednesday NBA Cup quarterfinal games. I'll mention some honorable mentions that I'm looking at. Need to dig a little bit more into before I do get to the window with those, and then wrap it up with the best bet. And then, of course, I'll put together an Underdog Fantasy entry here for the NBA Cup quarterfinal game. So down to the 8 teams here. We have one quarterfinal matchup from each conference happening between Tuesday and Wednesday. So I'm definitely looking forward to these games. Should be a lot of fun as we find out who will end up going to Vegas for the semifinals and then the finals next Tuesday, like I mentioned. But before I get into it here for tonight, excuse me, make sure you guys download the SGPN app. It's completely free. And you have access to all of our shows and picks pages. Again, like I mentioned, it's completely free. All of our content is free. The app is free as well. So wherever you do get your apps, whether it's at the Google Play Store, whether it's in the App Store, do us a favor. Just go ahead and download it, the SGPN app. And hopefully we can, continue growing SGPN. All right. So Tuesday night, NBA Cup quarterfinals, we have 2 games on the schedule. The first one is going to be at 7 o'clock Eastern time. The Orlando Magic, they're in Milwaukee to take on the Bucks. Outside of player props, this line's kind of been moving up and down. I know when we talked about it yesterday, it was all the way up to -8, went down. I want to say as low as -5.5, and I think now has settled around -7 in this game. Total has climbed a little bit in this game. It's up to 215 now over on DraftKings. So a little bit of money coming in on the dog and the over, which is a little bit not correlated to say the least here. But let's get into the player props here. Orlando Magic and the Milwaukee Bucks. So I'll go through the injury report in this game here as well. Because unfortunately for the Orlando Magic, they're missing both Paulo Banchero and Franz Wagner, who are dealing with the same exact injury for those two players. It's unfortunate. So they'll have to have they're obviously their role players step up in the spot if they do want to beat the Milwaukee Bucks here tonight and head to Vegas. But Gary Harris also continues to be out for the Orlando Magic, and then Jonathan Isaac is also questionable in this game for them. Mac McClung is available for the Orlando Magic. Maybe he makes an appearance in this game for the Magic since they are shorthanded. For the Milwaukee Bucks side, pretty healthy squad. They did see the return of Chris Middleton last week. Hopefully he's able to stay healthy for this Milwaukee Bucks team. Giannis is probable as well, and Marjon Beauchamp is also probable here tonight. So the Bucks as healthy as they can be thus far this season. So I'll start it here with the obvious one that I do like, and that is going to be Giannis in this game. And now when we talk about these NBA Cup quarterfinal games, it's obviously not the playoff intensity that is in the postseason when you're trying to go out to win the NBA finals. But I think when you read some of these post-game interviews and whether it's with the coaches or whether it's with the players, this kind of means something for them to be a part of the NBA Cup. And I think more so for the younger guys, right? Because of the prize pool that's involved, right? For the winning team, you get obviously the highest amount of money paid. And some of those players that are on their NBA salary for throughout the season, I mean, they can almost match that or almost double it in this NBA Cup if that team ends up going to winning. And I think a lot of the veterans do recognize that, right? And I think that's been last year, the Lakers, they talked about that a lot. I know jokingly, Josh Hart mentioned that he doesn't care about the young guys, but he truly does. Jalen Brunson, those guys. So I think that for the Milwaukee Bucks here, I'm looking at Giannis. This number was at 29.5 on his points prop. Definitely shop around because there are still 29.5s out there. Currently over at BetMGM, if you have access to that. Caesars as well as at 29.5, but it is starting to move at 30.5. But I still like it at 30.5. Also give out the 29.5 here because that number is still available. But Giannis, look, I expect in these type of NBA Cup games, the best players to step up, and that is obviously Giannis. And you take a look at his history against the Orlando Magic, he's been absolutely fantastic against this team. And I'm just quickly pulling up his numbers here. So career-wise for Giannis, he's played against him in 33 games. Not going to really reference what he's done early in his career because he wasn't playing at that MVP level. But you take a look at the last 5 games that he's played against his Orlando Magic team. He scored 33, 34, 31, 35, and 37 in those spots. So 31 or more points he scored in the last 5 matchups against the Orlando Magic. And I think also not having Franz Wagner, Paulo Banchero, that depth inside for the Orlando Magic. They still have guys like Wendell Carter Jr. and Goga Batadze, but do we really think those guys can slow down Giannis? I do not think so at all. He's shooting a very good percentage against his team as well. Just referencing the last 5 games, 13 of 22, 12 of 21, 10 of 14, 15 of 22. The last game, he did shoot below 50%, where he was 11 of 25 in that game, shooting 44%. But also we know that Giannis, again, he can get it done from the free throw line. Majority of his points obviously will come around the basket, where I think the Orlando Magic are lacking right now. So I don't really think Goga Batadze or Wendell Carter Jr. will really be able to contain a guy like Giannis. So I did play Giannis over 29.5. I still like it at the current number, 30.5. But again, definitely shop around. 29.5s are still out there. But I do expect him to have at least 31 or more points in this game here tonight against the Orlando Magic. So Giannis over on his points here for tonight. I was trying to find someone on the Orlando Magic side that I did like as far as who's going to be the guy that's going to contribute for them offensively. I think obviously the first name that does come to mind will be the backcourt because we know Damian Lillard doesn't really play a whole heck of a lot of defense. I wasn't really comfortable getting to the window with Jalen Suggs at 20.5 points right now. Look, he can get there because their top 2 guys on the offensive side are out in this game, as I mentioned. But back-to-back games for Jalen Suggs, he's put up 22 or more points. He had 22 against the Philadelphia 76ers back on Thursday. And then last Saturday against the Phoenix Suns, he had 26 points in that game as well. I think if you don't want to get to the points, maybe the 3-point look would be the spot for him because he's knocked down at least 4 3-pointers in 3 straight games for the Orlando Magic. 4 of 8, 4 of 12, and 4 of 10 for Jalen Suggs in those spots. And currently looking at the number right now for Jalen Suggs on his 3-point shots, it's currently sitting at 2.5. It's at minus 148. I would be willing to lay that juice there if you're a same game parlay player, if you want to throw that in there for Jalen Suggs. But I do think it's a little bit of a correlation that if Jalen Suggs does get close to 20 points in this game, that he at least did knock down 3 3-pointers in this game for the Orlando Magic. So I'll put that on the card here as well. Jalen Suggs over 2.5 3-point shots made for the Orlando Magic. So those are the ones I was looking at in this game here. Casey mentioning Cole Anthony legacy game. Man, I feel bad for Cole Anthony. It's almost similar to my Rocket situation where there's a lot of depth on this team and somebody has to take a back seat at that, especially at that guard position. It just feels like this season it's been Cole Anthony. And I think they've been giving Anthony Black more run off the bench for the Orlando Magic. He did have 14 points last game. So I know he definitely is going to get the minutes here for the Orlando Magic in this game. Did play season high 29 minutes in the last game against the Phoenix Suns, scored 14 points in that game. Not very efficient from the floor, 6 of 14, but the minutes will definitely be there for him for Cole Anthony in this game. All right, let's see. So that is what I like for the Bucks and the Magic game here tonight. Free Sauce mentioning, yeah, I 100% agree with this. So the Bucks suck against point guards, and that's really more so that Damian Lillard doesn't play a lot of defense. So I think that if they're going to have to do a scoring, it's going to have to come from the back court, whether it's Jalen Suggs, whether it's Anthony Black, whether it's Cole Anthony for this Orlando Magic team. So if he's going to get up the shot attempts, I 100% agree that he could get over his points prop, because there was a game where he had 12 field goal attempts against the Charlotte Hornets back in November. He scored 16 points in that game. So again, another bit of a correlation that if Cole Anthony gets up 10 or more shots in this game, that he could clear his points prop, which is currently, let's see, sitting at, give me a second here. Cole Anthony is 13.5 in this game. I think that number is pretty much right for this game. All right, before I get over to the second game on the Tuesday night NBA Cup matchup, which will be between the Dallas Mavericks and the Oklahoma City Thunder, let me tell everyone about our good old friends over at Underdog Fantasy. Underdog Fantasy has one of the biggest menus when it comes to putting together entries. You can win up to 1,000x with Underdog Streaks. And Underdog, they're always making it easier to win with Profit Boost and Gimme Pick'ems. NFL, college football, college basketball, MMA, NASCAR, NBA, and much more. And you can also use specials and boosts on all flex entries. Definitely going to have Giannis in my lineup here tonight. Stay tuned towards the end of the episode. I'll put together an Underdog Fantasy entry for you guys. But make sure you guys get over there. Use our promo code MACHINE to claim your special pick and first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. That's UnderdogFantasy.com. Make sure you use that promo code MACHINE. And we're also brought to you by Rebet. Rebet is a new social sports book available in 45 different states. There are plenty of betting opportunities that are available on Rebet. It's easy to use and great for people in states where a traditional sportsbook may be restricted, like myself here in Texas. Download Rebet in the App Store and use the promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $100. Again, that's Rebet. Make sure you use that promo code SGPN. All right, let's keep it rolling here. Let's get over to the second game on Tuesday night. That will be between the Dallas Mavericks and the Oklahoma City Thunder, a rematch of the NBA playoffs last season. Right now, this game will be played, obviously, in OKC. OKC is a 4.5-point favorite in this game with a total of 231. So the books are expecting points to be put up in this game. And the first one, I think, that has been cashing for a lot of people since he's made his return for the Oklahoma City Thunder is going to be Isaiah Hartenstein on his rebounds. And the number right now for Isaiah Hartenstein is sitting at 11.5 in this game. I do like the over 11.5 for him in this matchup. And number one, I'll start here with the Dallas Mavericks side and what they've been giving up to the center position. And despite them having Derek Lively and Daniel Gafford at that center position, they're still allowing opposing centers to score 24.2 points per game and grab about 11.5 rebounds per game. They're also giving up 12 rebounds to that power forward position. But I think for this Oklahoma City Thunder team, it's a little bit different because, again, number one, they don't have Chet right now. And I know Isaiah Hartenstein is going to be in there getting the rebounds. And I think the books are expecting this to be a closer matchup between these two teams. Free Toss Machine did take Isaiah Hartenstein double last night. Yeah, couldn't talk you off of that. Minus 105. I do like his rebounds here tonight, but again, we just take a look at his game log and what he's been able to do. Last two games against the Pelicans and against the Raptors, 16 rebounds in 28 minutes against the Raptors, and then he had 12 rebounds against the Pelicans. But we go back against the Rockets back on December 1st in Houston, 30 minutes. He had 19 points, 13 rebounds in that game. And then let's go back to November where he made his season debut for the Oklahoma City Thunder in the 4 games in November. Against Portland, he had 14 rebounds. Against the Kings, he only had 10, but he did have 19 points in that game. And then against the Warriors in 31 minutes, he had 14 rebounds. And then against the Lakers in 37 minutes, he had 18 rebounds. The minutes have ticked down a little bit in the month of December for him, but a lot of that has to do with the Thunder being involved in blowouts because they blew out the Toronto Raptors by, 37 points. So obviously you don't really need him out there at that point, but he still had 16 rebounds in that game. Same thing against the Utah Jazz. They won that game by 27 points. He only had 5 rebounds in that game. But I do like Hartenstein rebounds in this contest. That number's at 11.5 right now. I do think that he does get 12 rebounds at minimum here tonight. So don't be surprised if you see him at the end of the night have 13, 14, 15 rebounds again for the Oklahoma City Thunder. On the Dallas Mavericks side, I do like Luka in this game to score. Despite how great defensively as a team the Oklahoma City Thunder are, Luka has had a lot of success against this Thunder team scoring the basketball. So quickly looking off, though he's played in 13 games in his career against the Oklahoma City Thunder. He's averaging 28 points per game, 8.8 rebounds, and 8.8 assists in those matchups. Furthermore, let's get over to what he's done in the last 5 games against the Oklahoma City Thunder. 40 points, 31, 38, 36, and 32. And we know the usage rate for a guy like Luka is going to be through the roof. And in 4 of those 5 games, he's had 22 or more shot attempts in those matchups. And I know that they have Kyrie Irving now and they have Klay Thompson, but Luka, we know he's a man for this team. Hasn't played. I don't think he didn't play in the matchup this season against the Oklahoma City Thunder. I believe that was again the PJ Washington game for the Dallas Mavericks. But I do expect a spirited effort here for Luka here tonight. His number is currently sitting at 28.5 in this game. So I do like that up and over for him here tonight. I think as great as defensively the Thunder have been, I think this could be one of the higher scoring games here tonight, or of the two, I should say, for Luka and the Dallas Mavericks and the Thunder. So I do think that he has a big night scoring the basketball here tonight. And then, like I mentioned, right, when we talked about the Bucks and Magic game, like these are the type of games in the NBA Cup where they get to like the knockout stage that they're officially calling it, that your best players are going to step up. And I think this is the time of the year where I want to see and I want to bet on these star players to go out and put out big performances because, again, they want to get to Vegas. They want to play in the semifinals game. They want to get to that NBA Cup finals and, get the second banner since they introduced this in-season tournament now called the NBA Cup there. So I do like Luka here over 28.5 points here tonight, along with Isaiah Hartenstein over 11.5 rebounds. Getting to some of the comments here, Justin mentioning he had Hartenstein over 22.5 points and rebounds in his pocket. Yeah, couldn't talk you off of that. Free Sauce asking about PJ Washington over 1.5 3-pointers made. I don't know what it is for PJ Washington going up against this Thunder team. I don't know if he has like a personal vendetta against his team or whatever the case might be. But I honestly, I couldn't talk you off of it, right? Because he's done this more times than not against this Thunder team. And you also go back to the playoffs last year, like I mentioned, when these two teams had matched up. And PJ Washington in that series was really the catalyst and really that second, third guy that stepped up for this Dallas Mavericks team. And he was really consistent in those spots. They did match up, like I mentioned, back on November 17th. And in that game, that was without Luka. But PJ Washington that game had 27 points, 17 rebounds. He was 3 of 4 from beyond the arc. This game, yeah, isn't OKC like I mentioned, but and we go back to last year in the playoffs, and I'll pull up those numbers here just because we are talking about PJ Washington here. There was a couple games in there where he was really, really good for this Dallas Mavericks team. So they did play in 6 games last year in the playoffs. He averaged 17.7 points per game in those spots. And he had, let's see, all 6 of those games, free sauce, he had at least 2 3-pointers made. He averaged 8.2 attempts in those games as well. And the minutes I know are going to be there for BJ Washington as well. So, yeah, this is going to be, it's a playoff atmosphere for sure. And he's done very well against the Thunder team. So, I could not talk you off. He wouldn't take that over 1.5 3-pointers made for PJ Washington here tonight. It's more than likely going to be those corner or those extended wing spots that he's going to knock down those 3-point shots. But at 1.5, especially at plus money, it's plus 115 right now, currently over on DraftKings. But again, definitely shop around, get the best number. But I definitely, based on the history, I honestly could not talk you off of that because we know that the defensive attention is going to go to a guy like Luka and Kyrie. That opens up opportunities for guys like PJ Washington and Klay Thompson. So I think the opportunities will be there for PJ Washington in this game for those 3-point shots. So yeah, couldn't talk you off of that one. I think that's pretty much it for the Thunder and the Mavericks game. If you guys had any other props you want to discuss for those 2 games, let me know. I can always go back. But let's move it over here to the Wednesday schedule in the association. 2 more games on the schedule for the quarterfinals. Again, 1 from each conference. And we'll start with the first one. It'll be the Atlanta Hawks. They are in Madison Square Garden to take on the Knicks in this spot. Knicks are currently laying 7 points as well in this game with a monumental total in this game at 237. The injury reports aren't quite out yet for both these teams. Obviously, them playing on Wednesday tomorrow. If you are listening to this on Tuesday, and if you get to this on Wednesday, definitely check those injury reports because number one, for the Atlanta Hawks side of things, Jalen Johnson has missed the last 2 games. I don't know if he's going to be able to go in this game or not. He's dealing with a shoulder injury. My guess is that I think that he does end up playing in this game for the Atlanta Hawks. But I'm really excited to watch this matchup between the Hawks and the Knicks. The Hawks have actually been playing some pretty good basketball as of late. I don't think got destroyed by the Denver Nuggets. I think that was just a bad spot for the Atlanta Hawks. But this is going to be a fun matchup. I think the Knicks are also starting to turn around here as well. They got the victory on Monday against the Toronto Raptors in a 113-108 victory. So player props for this game. I'll start with the one I love, and that is going to be Karl-Anthony Towns. You can attack this 2 different ways. If you just want to play the rebounds straight up, or if you want to play the points and rebounds in this game. So let's start with Cat in his career against the Atlanta Hawks. And again, when we talk about the Atlanta Hawks team, a little bit thin up front, depending on the injuries. Again, definitely check that injury report. But these are the numbers for Cat in his career against the Atlanta Hawks. 23.8 points per game, 12.3 rebounds per game, and that's been in 16 games against the Atlanta Hawks. Let's fast forward to the lone game that he's played against the Atlanta Hawks this season, which was in Atlanta for Karl-Anthony Towns. 38 minutes, 34 points, and 16 rebounds. And number one, we know that Tibbs is going to play his starters into the ground. He doesn't care if they're up by 20 to 25 points with 3 minutes left in that fourth quarter. You're going to see the starters out there for the New York Knicks. And I do like Karl-Anthony Towns on his rebounds. That number is at 12.5. I think I might just play both points and rebounds to go over and rebounds to go over. The number's at 12.5 right now for his rebounding prop. But this season, Cat averaging 25 points per game, 13.3 rebounds per game. And I mean, just take a look at his last 4 games on what he's been able to do on the boards for this New York Knicks team. 19 against the Pelicans, 15 against the Magic, 16 against the Charlotte Hornets, 15 against the Toronto Raptors back on yesterday on Monday. And just looking at his splits as well, home and road splits, it's been pretty consistent as far as a rebounding and scoring perspective for Karl-Anthony Towns. 9 home games this season, 25.1 points per game, 13.7 rebounds per game. On the road in 13 games, 25.2 points per game, 13.1 rebounds. So the edge right there for the rebounding problem, as far as his season-long average, is not much there. But I think for this Atlanta Hawks team, you take a look at what they give up to that center position. Thus far this season, they're allowing the third most points per game to that center position at 28.6 points per game. And the one stat that jumped out to me about the Atlanta Hawks against the center position, they're allowing opposing centers to shoot 62.5% from the floor. So that was the one thing that really stuck out to me. So I think it's a big scoring night for Cat. Take some of the pressure off a guy like Jalen Brunson. I know Brunson left the game on Monday, but he did end up returning. So maybe a little bit of a sore, I think it was a foot or ankle injury for him. So I do expect Jalen Brunson to be out there 100%, obviously, because he did return for the New York Knicks in that game. But I think this is a big Cat game. They're also allowing 12.3 rebounds per game to the center position, and also 12.3 rebounds to the power forward position there as well. So expect a big Cat game here tonight on Wednesday night for Karl-Anthony Towns against the Hawks. So I do like his points and rebounds to go over, and I like his rebounds to go over as well. The rebounding number is at 12.5, and his points and rebounds to go over is currently sitting at 39.5, I believe, is the number for him. I hate the layout now on DraftKings because they just completely changed it up. But his points and rebounds are 38.5 currently over on DraftKings at -110. So definitely love that for Karl-Anthony Towns. As far as the Atlanta Hawks side of things, they do have Jalen Johnson props up right now. So I think the books are anticipating that he does go out and play. But his role, we know, has been expanded for this Atlanta Hawks team. And you take a look on what he's done prior to the injury on the season, averaging 19.8 points per game. He's averaging 9.9 rebounds per game as well. Back-to-back games, he's put up double-digit rebounding numbers for the Atlanta Hawks. And let me pull up on what he's done against the New York Knicks in his young career here. Give me 1 second here. All right, so Jalen Johnson, 9 career games against the Hawks. But again, I'm using the most recent ones, which dates back to last season. So 11 points, 9 rebounds, 18-5. But the last 2 games for Jalen Johnson, 26 points and 9 rebounds. And then they had a matchup earlier this season in Atlanta, like we mentioned, 23 points and 15 rebounds in that game as well. And also the one other note that did stick out to me, he's had 7 assists in both of those games for the Atlanta Hawks against the Knicks as well. So if you want to go PR over, or if you want to go PRA over for Jalen Johnson, I think he does step up in a big spot here for this Atlanta Hawks team against the New York Knicks. Sauce mentioning checking out DeAndre Hunter against the or just overall for DeAndre Hunter. Yeah, so he's averaging 19 points per game. 4 straight games where he's put up 20 or more points for the Atlanta Hawks there. So yeah, I think that's definitely something that you want to look into here. So let's just look at it since we're here. His prop is not quite up yet, currently over on DraftKings. Let me take a look if another book does have it. FanDuel does have 17.5 for him. If you have access to FanDuel, if you want to get down on that. Points and rebounds, they have at 21.5. They also have his 3-pointers made at 2.5 at around +102. He's made at least 3 3-pointers in 3 of his last 4 games. But if you just strictly want to go to the points prop, 17.5, he's done that at minimum 5 straight games for the Atlanta Hawks. Make that 4, 5, 6, 7 straight games where he's had 18 or more points. And 6 of those 7 games, he's had 20 or more points for the Atlanta Hawks there. So couldn't talk you off of that one for DeAndre Hunter. I think that's it, at least for this game here between the Hawks and the Knicks. If you want to look at Trae Young assist, he had a 20 assist game the other night against, I believe it was the Lakers, wasn't it? Yeah, on the Friday night game. Follow that up with 10 assists. He did have 15 against the New Orleans Pelicans. But I do think that this is more of a game where we see, I think the depth pieces really need to step up for the Atlanta Hawks team if they want to pull off the upset here as a 7-point dog against the New York Knicks there. So, yeah, I'll leave it at that. All right, before I do get to the second game on Wednesday night of the NBA Cup quarterfinal games, let me tell everyone about our friends over at mybookie.ag. We're brought to you by mybookie.ag. MyBookie has been running on SGPN for years. Check out their new and improved website. It's great on mobile, plus props for every game and the live dealer casino. Even they have a new early cash out option available there as well on mybookie.ag. So do yourselves a favor, head over to mybookie.ag. Use that promo code SGPN for a 100% deposit match up to $1,000. Plus, you'll get a $10 casino chip as well. That's mybookie.ag. Make sure you use that promo code SGPN. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. SGPN's Prep Partner Rhythm is the #1 AI-powered back sports betting platform that helps provide bettors of all levels the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds and get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. Build your own model, copy one of the top-performing models from the leaderboard, or have Rhythm build a model for you. Now you can track props in the Rhythm app. NFL picks, NFL props, college football, college basketball, and NBA. Rhythm, honestly, they have it all. So claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All right, second game of the night. It's going to be the Golden State Warriors. They are visiting my Houston Rockets in this matchup. Currently, as it stands, the Rockets are a 2.5-point home favorite with a total of 221 in this game. And I will mention this, that the Golden State Warriors have beat the Rockets 22 straight. Sorry, not 22 straight games. 15 straight games. I'm thinking of the 22-game win streak that the Rockets had back when we had Tracy McGrady and Yao Ming on the roster there. But the Golden State Warriors have beat the Rockets 15 straight times. And I don't anticipate that changing here, unfortunately. I think if it was against any other opponent, I would like the Rockets side here, but the Warriors, they just have our number, man. It is what it is at this point. So I think the Warriors would be the side here for me in this game. Would I be surprised if the Rockets won this game? A little bit, just because they've lost 15 straight, but a little bit more meaning, at least in this game, when it comes to the NBA Cup of the quarterfinals here. All right, so so you guys know when you follow me or when you follow Propcast or my player props, about 95 to 96% of the plays I do are on the over. But I do like an under, and that's going to be Jalen Green to go up and under his number of his points in this game. That number is set at 19.5 in this game here. Yeah, Casey, thanks for mentioning that, because I wanted to see if Wiggs was going to be playing in this game or not. So that's good to know that he's going to be playing in this game here. So let's start with Jalen Green here. If you looked up in the dictionary about inconsistencies, I think you would see Jalen Green's name right next to that word inconsistent, because I think that's what's been the theme about his career, honestly, for this Rockets team. And if you just kind of go through his game log, that's just pretty much what is it. You'll see a lot of inconsistencies, but he hasn't fared well against the Warriors in his career. So he's already played in his young career against the Warriors 11 times, and he's averaging only 12.9 points per game in those spots. He scored 20 or more points just twice in those 11 career games against the Golden State Warriors. So I think, number one, the Warriors do a great job defensively against him. But you take a look at his shooting numbers in those 11 career games against the Golden State Warriors. He's shooting at 29.2% from the floor. Is Jalen Green against the Golden State Warriors? Yeah, let me repeat that. 29.2% from the floor against the Golden State Warriors. And you take a look from the three-point line, he's shooting 18.8%. 18.8% against the Golden State Warriors here. So I don't know why on God's green earth I would think that Jalen Green comes out here and plays well against his Golden State Warriors team. I think they have different guys I can throw at him. But I don't know what it is with Jalen Green against his Warriors team. But I'm going to be on the under. I already played this under. It's at 19.5 currently consensus. I don't think that he's going to have a great game here against his Golden State Warriors team, which makes you just want to think that obviously the other guys are going to have to step up in this spot. I'll say one guy on the Rockets side that I do like, maybe that does have a big, or not a big scoring night, but does have a good scoring night for this Rockets team. I'll save that for honorable mentions. But right now, you could get the under 19.5 consensus right now. The best number is available on DraftKings. As far as VIG goes, it's at minus 110. FanDuel, Caesars have it at minus 128 on the under 19.5 points. Bet Rivers at minus 125. But the best number you can get right now for Jalen Green under is going to be over at DraftKings at minus 110 for under 19.5 points. So that's the first one that I do like here. Mention it, just staying with a theme of backing star players. Steph Curry, I like the points for him to go over in this game. The dude has just absolutely owned the Houston Rockets in his career. His number is at 24.5 in this spot. A little low, you can say, for Steph Curry, but if you've been watching this Warriors team, that they've been really trying to play 10, 11, 12 deep. And I think that for some of these other guys that have stepped up for this Golden State Warriors team early in this season, that Steph Curry hasn't had to do a lot. And he hasn't played in either of the two matchups this season against the Houston Rockets. But you take a look at historically what Steph Curry has done against his Rockets team, especially over the last 5 career games against them. He's had a lot of success against this Rockets team. And again, obviously one of the best, not one of the best shooter in NBA history. I think that he just pours it on for this Golden State Warriors team against the Houston Rockets. Last 5 games against this Rockets team head to head. Actually, I'll go back 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Last 7 games. 40, 33, 30, 30, 24, 32, and 29. 3 matchups last season against this Rockets team. He scored 24, 32, and 29. Again, he's just a matchup nightmare for this Rockets team. And the 3-pointers have also been there for him, of course, as well. So I do like Steph Curry to step up in the spot here. I mentioned it with the Bucks game. I like Giannis. I like Luka in those games. I like Steph Curry in this game as well against the Rockets. I think he does have a big game and propels the Warriors to get to the semifinal games in Vegas. So over 24.5 points here for Steph Curry in this spot. So that's the one that I did like here for the Rockets game, to Jalen Green under 19.5 points, and then Steph Curry to go over 24.5 points here. So let me get over to some honorable mentions for, in fact, all the games here. So since we're already on this Rockets and Warriors and Rockets game, I do like Jabari Smith. His number is sitting at 11.5 in this game. And, for those of you who have known me, I'm not a Jabari Smith fan. Another player that's kind of been inconsistent for this Rockets team. He's averaging 11.5 points per game on the season, but I think this is a spot where he can step up for this Rockets team, whether it's on the rebounding front or whether it's scoring the basketball for this Rockets team. So take a look at what he's done in his career against the Golden State Warriors. 9 career games. He's averaging 15.4 points per game in that span. He scored, I think the number was at 11.5 for him. Let me double check that before I start the handicap here for Jabari Smith. So let's see. Jabari. Where is Jabari? 11.5 currently is the number for him. So like I mentioned, he's averaging 15.4 points per game in his 9 games against the Golden State Warriors. He's fell short of scoring 12 or more points in just 2 career games against the Golden State Warriors here. So I know the minutes are going to be there for Jabari in this matchup. He's been a guy that if he can consistently knock down the 3-point shot, I think that's something that he can add um, to his repertoire here. But again, I mentioned it for Jalen Green. It hasn't been as bad for Jabari against the Warriors as it is for Jalen Green. Jabari's still only shooting 43.7% against the Warriors from the floor, shooting it at 30.5% from beyond the arc. But I think Jabari can have a pretty solid night here for the Houston Rockets. So honorable mention, I'll mention that. Number one, Jabari Smith over 11.5 points. Jonathan Kuminga, I think, is another guy that has had a lot of success against his Rockets team as well. And he's been playing well as of late for this Golden State Warriors team. So let's take a look at the last two matchups, in fact, this season. And again, like I mentioned, those were without Steph Curry, so he did step up in those spots. He scored 23 points and 33 points for the Golden State Warriors in those games there. So I think there's a spot here for Jonathan Kuminga. If you want to take a look at his points to go up and over, it's at 16.5. Curious to see what his rebounds are as well in this game for Kuminga. If it's anything at 5.5 or less, I will definitely look at betting the over. It's at 4.5 minus 140. I mean, I don't really hate it. He's at 6 and 7 rebounds respectively against the Rockets thus far this season. And again, going back to I really don't like to reference what's happened earlier in his career because Kuminga was still a young player at that point, but he has a bigger and a more prominent role and more minutes that he's playing for this Golden State Warriors team. And I think that he can have a big game here as well for the Golden State Warriors side of things. So I'll mention that for honorable mentions. I'll dig a little bit more deep into that one for him, but I think that Kuminga could be a something that I do get to the window with. Kaminga's PR, Casey's asking, let me take a look here. My guess would be around 21.5 would be the number for me. Let's see. Where's PR? It's PR over under. Kuminga is 21.5 KC for his PR in this game. So I think that he could get 17 points, 5 rebounds at minimum for this Golden State Warriors team. So yeah, I'll give you that one there. As far as the other games, honorable mentions, nothing really else stood out to me. We kind of went through the ones that the chat was looking at as well. As far as some of the other guys, we talked about Jalen Suggs, talked about Cole Anthony in those spots, but nothing really else as far as honorable mentions for me. So yeah, we'll put a cap in that. I mean, I've been talking here for 42 minutes about 4 games here. So just to recap here, the picks that I have already bet. We'll start here with the Tuesday night games, and I'll give you a best bet, of course, here at the end. We'll go Giannis over 29.5 points. That one's on the window. I did play Luka over 28.5 points and Isaiah Hartenstein over 11.5 rebounds. And then for the Knicks and the Hawks game officially played, Cat over 12.5 rebounds, but I'm also going to add the points and rebounds to go over at 38.5. And then also officially did play Jalen Green under 19.5 points against the Golden State Warriors in that game there. So those are the 5 official ones that I've gotten to the window with for the player props of the NBA Cup games. All right, so let me do my best bet here. And then I'll put together the underdog fantasy entry here for tonight. Sorry, for the NBA Cup game. So best bet, I think my favorite one, honestly, is I'll give you one for each day. So for the Tuesday night, let's go with Isaiah Hartenstein over 11.5 rebounds. We talked about the numbers of how great he's been rebounding for this Oklahoma City Thunder team since he made his season debut and has been consistently playing. I think the key number of minutes that Isaiah Hartenstein has to play for him to get up and over this number of 11.5 rebounds is around that 28 to 30 minute mark for this Oklahoma City Thunder team. So I like that for him as my best bet for the Tuesday games. And then for the Wednesday NBA Cup quarterfinal games, I really like Cat. It's honestly 1A and 1B. I'll give you Jalen Green under 19.5 points as the best bet for the Wednesday card. But I really also do like Cat rebound points and rebounds, or if you just want to play the rebounds alone. But Jalen Green under 19.5 points. I mean, we talked about it. He's just been atrocious against the Warriors in his career. Only 2 games of the 11 that he has played against his Warriors team has gone up and over 20 or more points. I think that with Wiggins hopefully playing in this game, I think they'll be able to slow down Jalen Green in this game. And again, just the shooting numbers just really stand out just jump off the page for Jalen Green against the Warriors team. So I think those bad shooting games continue here against the Golden State Warriors. So Jalen Green, Wednesday best bet, under 19.5 points for that best bet. All right. Last but not least, underdog fantasy entry here for the NBA Cup games. All right, so let me pull it up here on my phone because it's easier for me to do it than from the actual website. So Underdog, let's go there. Again, do me a favor, guys. If you haven't already signed up for Underdog Fantasy, come join us. It's honestly, it's a lot of fun putting these entries together, and we've had a lot of success not only on the Propcast but also on the NBA gambling podcast as well. You'll get a 50% deposit bonus of up to $1,000. So if you put in say $100, they'll match and they'll give you $50 for free to play with. And they have profit boosts going on right now for the NFL. Sorry, for the NBA. They have NFL boost and things like that as well. So it's a lot of fun over on Underdog Fantasy. So I'll go ahead and put in Jalen Green as my first entry, lower on his points of 19.5. I kind of want to see what the 20.5 is. I don't think they have it for him, but yeah. So we'll go 19.5 lower for Jalen Green. Let's go to Giannis here tonight. I think he does have a big game. I'm going to pivot a little bit. I'm going to take the points and rebounds to go over for Giannis tonight at 41.5 against the Orlando Magic. We know he's a great rebounder as well. I think that he's going to have a big night scoring points here as well for this Bucks team. Won't be surprised if he does have 35 plus points here tonight for this Bucks team, and the rebounds will be there for him as well. So go higher, 41.5 points and rebounds for Mr. Giannis. And then let's go Cat. I really do like Cat I don't think they have it up yet just because they're waiting for the injury report. So I can't put that one in for the underdog. Let's go Isaiah Hartenstein. I like his rebounds in this game. You guys were mentioning that points and rebounds to go over, over as the straight bet. I do like that. But I'll just go higher on his rebounds here for tonight for Isaiah Hartenstein against the Oklahoma City Thunder. So, and they also have a 50% profit boost as well. So I'm going to be using that as well. So that's going to get me to around 12x for this entry using that 50% profit boost. So the entry for the NBA Cup quarterfinal games. So we're going to go with Jalen Green, lower 19.5 points. We'll go Giannis, higher 41.5 points and rebounds. And then we'll go higher on his rebounds for Isaiah Hartenstein, 11.5. And that'll get you to 6x on the regular. But if you do have that profit boost available on Underdog Fantasy, they'll get you all the way up to 12x. So every $10 that you do put in, you'll get a return of $120 if you use that profit boost for the NBA on your Underdog Fantasy entry. So hopefully we come back and we do cash on those entries here for the Underdog Fantasy. All right, this was a lot of fun. Did miss my guy Chris here. I always love chopping it up with him with our player props, but we'll be back tomorrow for the NFL Thursday night football game between, I think, the Rams and the Niners. So look out for us then. We'll usually go around 12:30, 12:45 Eastern Standard Time for the Propcast for that. But if you guys enjoy this with me doing solo pod here, let me know, and I'll try to grind out a little bit more here. I know the schedules for the co-hosts get a little bit busy, so I can try to grind these out if you guys enjoy this on my own here. So definitely love enjoy doing these propcasts, talking about player props, and the chat, man. You guys make it a lot of fun as well. So appreciate you guys in the chat there. Free Sauce, Casey, of course. Justin was in there as well. So definitely appreciate you guys being in there and making the show go by a little bit faster and a little bit more fun as well. So like I mentioned, we'll be back tomorrow, NFL Propcast. Think NBA. I'll try to squeeze in one more, but if you guys like the solo ones, tweet at me at SportsNerd824. Slide into my DMs on X or Twitter or whatever you want to call it. Send a tweet, whatever the case might be. And if you did enjoy this, I'll try to grind out some more for you guys. So appreciate everybody in the chat, of course. If you haven't already subscribed to the Propcast, whether it's on YouTube or whether it's on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, I would truly appreciate if you guys could do that for me for the Propcast. Really trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by hopefully by the end of the year. If not, definitely by by January, though. That would look really good in front of the bosses. All right. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow with myself and Chris for the Thursday Night Football game, NFL Week 15. Till then, good luck with your bets. Books off, and always remember to let it ride.